you may think you're going to get some good advice or insights here, and I can't guarantee that. What I can say, though, is that everything you're about to see is motivated by fear. Because you see, I've come back to London after a few months away, and as you might have heard, London's a pretty expensive city. That's one of the main things everyone says about London, and I believe that to be true, but I have never yet actually tracked how expensive it actually is. What's more, I'm in this situation where, like, I'm a freelancer again. And so as a freelancer, I feel that lately I am constantly working, but maybe not making enough money. And so this is an experiment to see if my current freelance life is working, or if it's like about time or well overdue that I get a part-time job or something to make ends meet. But basically, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I can't guarantee any grand insights coming out of this. I cannot, in good faith, recommend that anyone replicate any decisions I am making. And I almost invite you to approach this more as comedy than anything else. It's entertainment. Like, starting off strong on Friday with an errand. So I've been cutting and dyeing my own hair for a few months now to save money. But I'm also always embarrassed to buy the box dye because I can just hear the hairdresser's judgmental voices echoing through my mind. So as a result, I always go somewhere with a self-checkout option. Today I also felt like it'd be a nice day to go along the canal, so I went to the Boots in Angel. I bought hair dye, indeed, and sunscreen for about £22. And after that, I had the brilliant idea to walk along Upper Street to maybe find a coffee shop where I could sit and do some work, knowing full well that there are basically no good cafes for doing work on Upper Street. I wound up at Euphorium Bakery. It's a chain, but the coffee was fine, and also it was very nice that I got to sit outside, and actually it was kind of one of the better working locations I've been to in a little while because I did appreciate the outside seat. Happy Friday evening, even though it's not really Friday when I'm recording this, but I didn't record anything because this is when the real decline in my responsibility here really starts to take shape. So Friday evening, I went to the pub and I bought a bottle of wine for the table. That was about £30, I think, based on my conversion from my American credit card, which I used to pay for the wine. Then we very responsibly actually decided to leave the pub after one bottle of wine, but very irresponsibly decided on the way back to stop by the shop, and I bought 2 more bottles of wine for about, I think, £9 and £11 each. So we're talking about £50 spent in this one evening. On to Saturday. I wake up feeling, let's say, the effects of the night before, and I decide that the only adequate breakfast is a bowl of orzo. I take a trip to the grocery store where I buy orzo, pesto, and also some coffee because we're running out. That comes out to about £11. Then I dye my hair. And now here I just want to say I almost feel like, I should get some, positive points for self-dyeing my hair. Like, I actually probably saved over £100 doing that, but yeah, I don't feel like I get credit for it and just have to say how much money I spent on the hair dye, which doesn't seem fair, but whatever. And then I go for a walk up to Stoke Newington. I tempt myself by stopping in literally every charity shop along the way, but I keep my shopping list in mind, and I very responsibly buy nothing. And once home, I don't want to cook, and so order a curry takeaway for dinner for me and my sister. That's about £25. It was really good. It's Sunday now. I am not recording this on Sunday. I'm in fact recording this on Thursday, but it turns out that Sunday was just such a drab, nondescript day that I didn't feel inspired, moved to get out my camera for anything at all, and I don't have much to say about Sunday apart from the fact that I spent the morning right in this spot actually doing some video work. Then I dragged myself down to the organic store to get some flax seeds and some coconut milk for my breakfasts for the week ahead, as well as some seaweed snacks. Then had dinner at my husband's parents' house. So fortunately, a pretty low spend day there. I actually spent just about nothing because, of course, dinner was free of charge. I suppose, got the breakfast foods and the transportation, and that's it. And now it's Monday. I woke up feeling super stagnant in my life, so my sister and I decided that it'd be nice to delay the start of the workday with a nice woodland walk. So we get the bus up to Highgate. And the drawback of not cooking all weekend is that I don't have my usual leftovers for lunch, so we end up going to a cafe after our woodland walk. By the way, the best cafe for working in London, but I'm gonna gatekeep that and not tell anyone where it is. And we end up splitting a sandwich and a muffin. I pay $15.70 for all of this. Then we walk back to Finsbury Park and get the bus home, another £1.75. On that night, I did the cooking, but Jack very kindly paid for the groceries. Now, Tuesday is the worst day of the week. I don't think anyone could disagree with me on that, and I decided to begin it in the worst way possible with a transfer to the joint bank account that I share with my partner to cover our expenses for the flat for the month. And now I thought this would be an opportune moment to just run through those expenses. This is terribly boring, but I guess it should be said. I'm just going to do this very rapid fire, starting with maintenance charge on the flat, which I thought I did have this memorized, but I don't. It's $172.85 for the month. We've got council tax, which is paid to the local governing body, and that's $156 per month. Got electricity at $85.42 per month. Gas at $27.12 per month. TV license, again, unique thing to the UK. You have to pay this separate licensing fee to basically have TV in your home, and that's $13.25 per month. And now we're on to internet, $15.95 per month. And then there is my phone bill as well, which I cover myself. So this is not a shared expense, split down the middle, and that's about £25 per month. And now basically, just divide each of those numbers in half. And then I also then divided them by 4 to give a weekly total, which brings us to about £69 for the week on these just general expenses that need to be covered, I guess. This is the part I'm really nervous about. This is the part I didn't want to say. This is the part that I feel like is going to basically destroy any relatability I might have created through this video. You might have noticed that, I didn't disclose that major expense that most people have, which would be rent. And that's because when I'm here in London, I live in a flat that my partner owns. And so, I don't pay rent. However, I have to say I'm really super aware of the pains of the private rented sector because I have lived in rented accommodation for all of my adult life before this. And also though, in this situation, the situation I'm in now is one of those where a lot of things can be true at once. And I think I can at once feel a lot of gratitude for the situation I'm in, for the flexibility that it allows me. basically, it allows me to be a freelancer. The final conflicting emotion I feel is guilt. Guilt that I am able to live this life in this desirable city that so many people want to live in and can't live in, and that I am able to just do it so kind of almost effortlessly, it might seem. And I feel sometimes also that I'm not taking enough advantage of the experience that, as you've seen, I spend a lot of time just kind of languishing around the flat, having my mundane days in coffee shops around London, and kind of not really, I admit, experiencing all that the city has to offer. And that does make me pretty sad sometimes. And it does make me feel like, well, why am I the one with this chance to live here rent free? Why is it not someone else? And I don't really have an answer to it, but those are just some of my feelings about this strange situation I find myself in. And yeah, I guess though I'll just continue on with what that Tuesday was, which was I went to a coffee shop later in the day. I spent £3.60 on a coffee and sat there and worked for a while, and then I went home. And when I went home, my sister and I were both feeling pretty unhappy. So we went to happy hour and spent, I think, £14 for 2 cocktails and £16 for 2 large glasses of wine. And yeah, that was Tuesday. Hello again. We have another day when I really didn't have anything of note happen, and also did not once again feel moved to record anything. I'm great at this, aren't I? So Wednesday, I did not go to a coffee shop. In fact, I did not leave the flat very much. I kind of lazed around. I procrastinated quite a bit. And then I went to the grocery store to get ingredients for dinner. I got 4 cans of beans. I got some tomatoes, some basil, some chilies, some nutritional yeast, silken tofu. What else? I can't remember. Anyway, it all came out to be some bread. It all came out to be about 25 pounds. And that's that. Was that it? Was that actually all that happened on Wednesday? I think it was. Again, this is reality. This is a true, not only what I'm spending, but this is a week in my life in London. Isn't it glamorous? Don't you wish that you lived this life too? Wow. I know I do. Now we're on to Thursday, and I'm actually now recording this on the actual day I am speaking about. It's been not a great day, honestly. I've been pretty stressed out today, actually, about getting some stuff done that I needed to have done today. And it was one of those days when I basically spent the entire day sitting on the couch and trying to work on a set of qualitative summaries for an evaluation report. And it was one of those days when I could feel that every word I was writing was bad. Nothing made a lot of sense, and yet I could do no better. And so that's what I've done. I basically sat on the couch today. I did not do much. I went to the store. I've been on a real orzo kick lately, so I got more pesto and cheese to have with my orzo, and more coffee. That's what I did today. Also, the stove broke. that's exciting. So I wasn't actually sure if I could turn it off, because little knob thing that just came straight off, and I don't know what to do about that now. I mean, my sister managed to turn it off. I did not turn it off. I was just kind of getting close to panicking when she figured it out, because she's a good problem solver. I'm a panicker. So that was today, and I suspect that we're gonna go out to the pub, even though probably shouldn't, because I definitely have spent more money this week than I should have, particularly on things like unnecessary food and alcohol. But alas, it's gonna happen. I know, because I also am feeling quite sad, and if I don't do something that is purely for fun and pleasure, I might cry. So we've reached the grand total stage. Yay, finally, we're done with this. This has been not the most fun experiment, let me say. It's been incredibly revealing though. And these are going to be some of my final thoughts on it. But first, the grand total. On kind of day-to-day general, like going out for drinks, mostly expenses, that came up to about £251, added to the £69 that I would spend on general, like, electricity, gas, internet, etc., for a total of £320.62. Is that good? Did I have reason to fear? I don't know. First of all, yes, I did remain within kind of the budget where I did not exceed my outgoings basically for the month. Based on this week, if we can extrapolate out, if this is a typical week, I did not exceed the outgoings for the month with the incomings for the month. So, I mean, I guess that's good, but also recognizing that if I were paying rent and recognizing that it'd be probably about £1,000 per month for just a bedroom, I would probably have far exceeded what I brought in this month. And so that's just something to keep in mind. But also, spending aside and also looking at some of the things I was spending on, I think it really did reinforce a kind of bleakness to my present reality. I mean, you've noticed how much perhaps I was unhappy, so decided to go to the pub, get drinks, like try to distract from an overall sense of just mundanity and boredom and discontent. And I don't quite know like where that came from. I did this exercise ultimately, to like determine like what I'm spending and to figure out, is my life sustainable? Maybe not. And just maybe generally existentially, like all of this, like living in the UK thing isn't the most secure and sustainable way of being, but hey, here it is what it is. And I think like kind of that's also what I think about what I've spent this month. Like, were there unnecessary expenses? Oh yes, many. But did I also feel at the time that they were necessary to enjoy myself? Also, yes. And I think maybe it's like, this is time to really like interrogate, what is the lifestyle I'm going for here? Like, do I want my whole life to be trying to work as best I can during the day and then by night going to the pub, basically numbing myself from the boredoms and frustrations of the day to day with no real like variety, no real change, no real interest added to it. And then I come back from the pub and I feel a little bit disappointed because one, I know it's unhealthy, and two, I know that I spent unnecessary money that I don't really have coming in at the moment. And also going to the pub can start to just seem like another one of those mundane activities that doesn't really add anything to my life. So what am I actually doing? Like, I'm not seeking out like entertainment. I'm not seeking out experiences. I'm just living in this churn of a routine, and it's not the most satisfying, I think. And I think that's what this really showed me. I think the question is where to go from here, and I don't have an immediate answer. I mean, one thing that comes to mind is, oh well, I should probably think about expanding my social circle, and I should think about making more friends and connections so that I have, I don't know, more stuff to do, more invitations to go out and live life, have experiences. And yet at the same time, I feel like I'm at once so like kind of alone in some ways, but also so overstimulated that even the thought of going and making friends feels completely impossible, because I feel like any friend group that I would be trying to establish right now, I'd be starting entirely from scratch. Even having been back in London for over a year, I still feel like I don't know a lot of people, and I know like that's kind of a classic thing for people like who move to a new city, or in my case, who lived in a city before, left for a while, and then moved back. Like, it's hard to make friends. People are not always open to making new friends. And then even when they are, it takes a long time to establish connections. People are always really busy. And then also it's just like the general state of overwhelm in my life makes me feel like, oh, can I actually do this? Can I actually go and like talk to people and like be myself? And so I'm kind of wondering if maybe like I'm getting ahead of myself and thinking, oh, I just need like a wild and active social life to feel better about things. Like maybe I kind of just need to like focus on like getting to a point where I am enjoying my days myself in and of myself, but just like kind of like taking that alone time to just like pause, reflect, like do stuff like this where I'm really thinking about what I'm doing and the meaning behind it. And maybe like that's where things start to get better. And maybe also, yeah, my my spending habits will improve and I'll be less at the pub and more doing things that feel validating and engaging and interesting and fun. It's just a thought after all. But yeah, that's it, isn't it? Yes, thank you for watching this this weekly reflection. This has been painful.